let's start with the data set first. First, let's understand how we can create our own data set, and then also we will discuss how we can use the existing data set. Okay, so I need to create a new my requirement is I need to create a data set which has employee data. It can be employee ID, employee salary. So if I talk in the layman language, I need to create a table. The table should have employee IDs, employee name, and employee salaries, right? Okay. Now the same thing I will do inside the SAS. So how we can do that? First of all, we'll write data, and then you have the SAS will understand by default that you want to create a data set. Once you write the data, SAS will automatically understand it. Now you have to provide SAS. So, so basically, it's a keyword. You are telling SAS that you need to do this thing, right? So it will ask the name. By what name you want to create the data set. So I'll say EMP. EMP means employee. Now we discussed about the parent to child. So what is the parent of this data set? You have to provide the library name. But in case if you do not provide the library name, by default it will go inside the work. So either I can write here work.emp or I can directly write emp. So let's write work.emp first. Another important thing says programming language is not case sensitive, but data is always case sensitive. I will explain this thing that if I say that data is case sensitive, what is the meaning of this thing? But programming is not case sensitive. Okay. Data work.emp. So now I'm telling SAS that I want to create a data set. The name of the data set will be EMP and it should go inside the work library. My first step has been completed. Now I'll write a semicolon. Then after writing the semicolon, I'll start from the very next line. Okay, so now you have defined the dataset name. Now SAS will ask what kind of data you want to keep here inside your dataset. You will tell them by writing input. Input is a keyword. This keyword will tell SAS that now I want to enter the variable name. All right, what will be the variable name? First of all, EMP ID. That means employee ID. Then employee name, EMP name. Then I'll write salary. Okay, so I have these three variables so which I want to keep inside the employee dataset. Now another question comes. We discussed about the variable types. So, basically two types of variables we will have inside this as either it will be the numeric or it will be the character. Now you have defined the name of your variable, but you did not tell SAS that what variable is what, right? So you know that you know that employee ID will be numeric. I'll keep the employee ID. Just make an assumption that I'll keep the employee ID as numeric, employee name as a character, and salary as a numeric. Okay. So if your variable is a numeric type, you will not write anything. But in case if it's a character, what you will do after writing the variable name, you will write a $sign. Once you write the $sign, SAS by default understand whatever variable name exists before the $sign is your character type. Clear? And in case of numeric, you do not need to write any symbol. But if you want to define your variable, that your variable is character, after writing the variable name, you have to write the $. So that SAS can understand that employee ID is numeric because you have not mentioned anything after the employee ID. Employee name is character because you wrote the $sign here. And then you have a salary. After salary, you have not mentioned anything. That means it is numeric. Now you will write a semicolon here. So this is how SAS will understand the things. So it's very easy, right? First of all, you told SAS, I want to create a data set. You told SAS, I want to store data set inside the library. The data set name is EMP. Then you told about your variable type, right? Very easy thing. Now you will tell SAS, SAS will understand these two things. It will create a data set. It will keep the variables inside the data set. Now what data you want to keep inside these? data set. So you have to provide the data also. Now you will write data lines. Once you write the data lines, from the very next line, you will start writing the data, what you want to keep inside this. So data lines is, once you write the data lines, SAS will automatically understand that now you are going to provide the information regarding the data. So I'll give a space between the data. So the first is my employee ID. The one is my employee ID. Employee name is John and employee salary is $5,000, right? And then I'll write another one, Mary, and then salary is 6,000. I'll give it 3. I'll write it, Sarah. Salary is around 5,500. Then I'll give it Mike, give it 70. So this is something which I want to keep inside my employee data. And then I'll write a semicolon. Semicolon is basically to tell SAS that this step has been completed. So now data lines step has completed. So data lines you wrote here that I'm going to write the data lines. You need to write a semicolon. Once you write the data, in the very next line you will write the semicolon. So what is the funda? Why we can't write the semicolon here? Once you write the semicolon, you saw that the things were highlighted in yellow. Now the things has been in blue only. The text is in blue. So reason behind writing the semicolon to tell is after the data lines is because this is the data you want to enter inside the data set. So if you write the semicolon before after the last line of data set, SAS will confused. So you have to always write the semicolon at the end of the data line, right? And then you will write run here. So what is the funda of writing run here is whatever it will tell SAS that whatever is written before this run, you need to execute these things. So SAS, once you write the run command, SAS will understand that execute all these things. Okay. Now I'll select my code and then I'll click on this running person. So this submit button. Another thing, what I can do, I can shortcut is I can click on the F3. So either you can click on the F3 button or you can click on this submit button. Okay, so something happened here. Now what will be your first action? You have to go inside the log. You have to check the details. So here you can see the first line is datawork.emp, which we provided. Second is also, third is also, and then data lines. So it does not provide you all the data lines here, right? And then run, semicolon and run. Okay. Now what log will tell you? Let's understand those things. So it will tell you each and everything that happened in the backend. So what happened here? The dataset work.emp has, that means this dataset has been created. And what this dataset actually has? It has 4 observations and 3 variables, right? So because you provided the information of creating 4 observations, that means 4 rows of data and then 3 variables. You have 3 variables here. Cool. So this is how you will check your logs here. And then it will give you the real-time CPU time. So that is not a concern as of now. But the thing is, like, we should, first of all, once you execute your program, the first action should be go inside the log, take a deep dive of the log. So now we are just starting with the small program, but in future you will be writing very big program. So your first action should be go and check your logs. If things are fine in log, let's proceed further. Otherwise, try to resolve the problem. Okay, inside the output window, there will be nothing because I have not mentioned anything. Okay, now what we should do, let's go inside the employee, inside the libraries, and let's check out our data set from here. So I'll go inside the work. I'll check, yes, here I can see my data set. Earlier there was nothing. So let's double click on this. So here we have employee ID, employee name, salary. So this is what I wanted. Okay. Now let's take a look on the procedure also. What procedure does here. So now I'm feeling like I do not want to click on the EMP again and again. What I want here, I want to write a code which will display all the data information which exists inside the EMP on the screen itself. So what I'll do, I'll write the procedures. I'll write proc print. So once you write the proc, you tell SAS that you are going to use a procedure. SAS will ask what is the name of the procedure. So this is something which already exists. So I'll write print. I want to use the print. So okay. Now it will ask, all right, what do you want to print? So I'll give the information that I want to print this thing. So now I'll give data equals to that I want to print the data set. Okay, give me the name of the data set. So data equals to EMP. It exists inside the work library, so you can directly write the EMP. Otherwise, you will write the complete name, library name dot EMP. So make a habit, write work dot EMP here. Write the semicolons. This sentence has been completed. Write the run. That means run, whatever is written before the run statement. Now I'll select these two lines and then I'll click on this submit. What will happen? On my screen, it will give me the output. So it will show me that observations. These are the observation number. These observation number does not exist inside my data set. But while you print the thing, by default, it will give you the observation number also. And later on, we will also learn how we can remove these observations if we do not want, right? So your data is employee ID, employee name, salary, and it will give you the further information which exists inside the EMP dataset. And also it will give you the date and time, the SAS system, your date and time also. So any question as of now? All right. So this is a basic idea of how we can proceed. Okay. Now let's start with the program. Let's start with our theory part also and then practical. Theory and practical. So I will tell you the things with the practical and theory will be covered simultaneously. Okay. So these are our programs which we will discuss in the class. Okay. So the first thing is no data set. What does it mean? No data set. Suppose I write data. I do not write any name of the data set and I just wrote the run. Now, if I execute this thing, I click on F3. What happened? By default, it created a data set inside the work. So now what I did, I again wrote a data. I did not provide the data set name and then I click on F3. Now just select the another program, click on F3. What will happen? A new data set has been created. So SAS is very intelligent tool. So what happened? By mistake, you forget to provide the data set name. What SAS did? Automatically, it give it a name, data1, data2. So suppose if I write the third program, so SAS is that much intelligent that by default, if you by mistake you did not provide the data set name, it automatically create one. Choose one, data1, data2, data3. Now, if you go inside data1, there will be nothing. So what error it gives you? Tables with 0 columns are not supported by this object. Work.data1 cannot be opened. Do you want to select a different table to open? I'll write no. Okay. So this will give you that there is nothing inside this. This will give you a view table inside of new format. So what happened here? We created dataset, but we did not provide any variable information. We did not provide any other information here. What is the data inside this dataset? So this will give you a basic idea. If you do not provide the dataset name, what SAS will do in such a situation. So it will create a blank dataset. Okay, let's move to the next topic. Rules of naming. These are important because this can be asked in an interview question also, and this can be very helpful while you are giving a name your dataset. Another thing, how you can copy the data. This will tell you how we can copy the data with the help of set. So suppose I have EMP. Now what I want to do, I want to create a new data set whose name is temp. And what I want inside the temp, I want to copy the data of the EMP. I want to keep the data of the EMP inside the temp. So what I can do, very easy trick. I'll write set. Set is a command that you want to set something inside the EMP. Now what you want to set inside the EMP? I'll give the first of all the directory name, library name, and then the dataset name. I want to keep it here EMP. Even here also, if work is the default library, so it doesn't matter if you want to write or not. But this is the hierarchy. So in case if you are working in the permanent library, you have to give the entire path. Otherwise, it will not work. Okay. So data work.temp. I want to create a new dataset named temp. What you want to keep inside the temp? So I want to keep whatever variables EMP has, whatever type of data EMP has, that I want to keep inside the EMP. Okay, so set command will do that, and then I'll write the run. So if I execute this, what will happen? It will create a new data set temp. Let's do it by programming itself. I want to print this temp. What I'll write? I just told you proc print, the procedure name. First of all, proc, that you are going to use a procedure. Then what is the name of the procedure? Print. What do you want to print? I want to print the data set data equals to. What is the name of the data set? It's temp. So I'll write the temp here, and then I'll write run. Okay. So if I select this and I execute this, it will execute the program and it will give the data here. EMP ID, EMP name, all the information. So it will give me the proc print data equals to temp. This is how we can print our data set as well. Now we will, so there is a one way of copying the data. And so we discuss, now we can understand, now we know the two ways of creating a data set. The first one is how we can create a data set with the help of like writing each and everything, data lines, and then the variable information. The another way could be how we can create the data set with the existing data set which exists. So this is a way of copying the data from one data set to another.